Good morning, good evening, everyone. Today we have our student Ruth with us. She matched into internal medicine and she had her fair bit of challenges. And we wanted to dig a bit deeper, understand her perspective, the challenges, how she overcame, and then tips for applicants who are going into the match this season. So, welcome, Ruth.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me.
Yep, thank you for giving this time. So let's start with a bit of an introduction about yourself. So why don't you tell our audience about you?
My name is Ruth Ann, and I am starting off as a PGY resident in Creighton University at Omaha in internal medicine. I am an IMG from India. I did my graduate medical education from Indira Gandhi Medical College in Pondicherry. I don't think anybody must have heard about it because I'm the only medical student who has gotten into this path of USMLE journey. So that's something I want to talk about as well. So my interests right now lie in cardiology. That's what I want to pursue. So let's see where this takes me.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay. So, let's just dive into your challenges. So give us some insight into what were the challenges you faced along your journey.
So I think my first challenge was being very ill-informed because I was an IMG from a college where nobody has taken up this path. So I did not have seniors guiding me or giving me a roadmap. So I stepped into it very ill-informed that way. So that was my biggest challenge, to just understand the whole process of USMLE. So what I did was, when I searched information on the internet and everything, it was really overwhelming because they throw everything at you all at once. So what I try to do is just to take one step at a time, find USCE, and then try to look into my steps, manage on the step scores, then I had to find USCE again because I was opting for multiple specialties, surgery and medicine. So that was another challenge. And then just to do the whole application process, and everything at once can be very overwhelming. So I did one step at a time, and that was very helpful. Another challenge I faced was, like I said, I had two specialty concentrated on my CV. So just to find that balance on how your CV should look, because they just see a single CV. Most of the IM program directors have been doing this for years. They can take one look at your CV and identify whether you have applied to medicine as a backup or whether you have, so they can understand what primary specialty you're aiming at. So just to find that balance between surgery and medicine was a challenge, because it's a double-edged sword. You don't want to get rid of the good electives that you did and all the experience that you gained from that and just take it away from your CV. Neither do you want to have a very well-built CV that is more leaning towards surgery. So just to find the balance was difficult. And then the next difficulty was to just build a CV within a very short duration of time for medicine during the COVID, just to get the USCE spaced out and just hit that target, and to get those 3 letters before September was the biggest challenge. Doing clinical experience is not that difficult because we're all well equipped for it. Our training in India is very solid. You just have to navigate our way through. Not too difficult. It's a learning process. No one's judging. Very little expectations from medical students. But to just get those letters and to just get those timing right was the challenge. Yes.
So anything specific you had to do to look for the US clinical experience, especially in medicine?
Yes. So I had a very short time and a very tight schedule. So Sarthi helped me a lot because I did 3 clinical rotations. And what helped me really during the last time was because I did not have a lot of outpatient rotations and couldn't travel to US because of the pandemic. So I took a very smart decision early on because you advised me to do that, to do a tele while I'm preparing for CK, and then just wait it out, because at some point it was meant to open. And right when it opened, when the gates opened and people were being allowed into the US, I got 2 hands-on rotations. That really helped me because I had a good outpatient experience. I had tele, and tele was not looked down by a lot of hospitals because they were incorporating tele into their residency training.
Correct.
So if you can actually capitalize on that and just explain how it's a new platform for health, for just delivering health and just capitalize on your tele rotations. That really helped me in the interviews. And just overall, just hitting the target wouldn't have been possible if I did not have Sarthi, because I wouldn't be able to like individually look into every programs, go to the website, contact program coordinators. That was a huge task. That wouldn't be possible during the step preparation.
Okay. So then let's talk about, just the application and the point you raised, which was balancing good experience from one specialty, but, marketing it, promoting it to another. So how did you overcome that challenge of balancing multiple specialties in your CV?
So I think in the back of your head, you should have a primary specialty. So for me, it was IM, because I know that IM people kind of look into your CV and then they kind of make that judgment right in the first look. Surgical people are not that vulnerable. They are okay if you have applications to other specialty because they always consider they're the primary. So to deal with surgical interviews are very easy. Because you just have to talk about your surgical experience. And if they think you're credible and if they think you have all the research and if you hit all the targets, then it's just your interview and honestly relationships and contacts and networking that matters. But with IM, you have to be very careful when you're applying to other specialties because they look into your CV more than the interview process, because the interview process, it's important, but it's very short, it's very brief. So you get very few minutes to make that impression. But primarily, the first impression they form is about your CV. So you just have to make sure that you make your CV in such a way that it doesn't seem too much aligned to the other specialty, but at the same time, you also have your important clinical skills and experience that you've gained during your USCE. And just be equipped to deal with those answers, those questions where they ask you, oh, so I see you did your surgical rotations. Tell me more about it. So just make sure that you align your answers in such a way that, okay, I did this, I was exploring my opportunities as a medical student, but I did learn these valuable skills, which will help me in my medical rotations. So just to kind of navigate your way through the answers is just how I dealt with it. They asked me in every single one of my interviews, including Creighton, which they dive into it, but it didn't seem like a red flag if you're answering it the right way.
Okay. Well, thank you. So as you know, we are a couple of months out from application season, and every season, students, some of them may or may not have the guidance or may have other questions. So what would be your top 3 to 4 tips for applicants going into the match? What should they be focused on?
Oh my, I know it was so stressful. But I think one tip was just to not be so stressful, because at the end, it's a very controlled process. It's a very organized process. It's not chaotic. So everything is in your hands. You have control over everything, your interviews, your PS, your CV, and everything is a very controlled and organized and a far stretched out process, like a marathon. It's not a sprint. So just not to panic so much is what I would tell myself, like a year ago. But I think the first tip is to just take one thing at a time, just to be very organized. That is the most important thing. And to start networking at a very early stage. No medicine is the same for everybody. Everybody has their different paths. I have people who match to use with contacts, without contacts. People match because somebody else recommended them. So it's a mix of everything. It's just to find your own way, but just to start networking at a very early stage. Send out letters. They really help. Initially I was very skeptical. Am I bothering them? Am I nagging them, spamming my program coordinators? But they don't honestly care. They don't remember you unless you even come and join. So they're interviewing thousands of people, reviewing thousands of applications. It doesn't really matter. Just send out emails, contact them, try to get in touch with as many people as possible. And then another tip would be to just be yourself in the interviews. I believe a lot of interviews initially, when I started off, I seemed very mechanic and very, oh my God, I forgot to say this and I forgot to touch that point and this point. But honestly, it's just about finding that connection with your interviewer and just to kind of make that impact where he goes back into the selection committee and then, oh, I remember this girl. So it's just about getting that impression on your interviewer. Just be yourself. And just to make sure the application goes out on time. Yeah.
I think that's the most important.
That's the most important.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you very much. So this was great, Ruth, very, very appreciated. And I think a lot of valuable tips. Anything that we missed? Anything?
Um, no, I think it's just if I can talk about this for like years, if I can talk about the whole journey, but it kind of shapes you into somebody much more equipped to deal with a lot of challenges. The residency is just going to throw at you. So this is just it's a great journey. Just take it
Yeah.
with a pinch of salt.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And of course, good luck for your residency.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.